Hey folks, hope you enjoyed that poorly lighted and somewhat rushed unboxing, but here we are. We've got all of the parts out, not that there were many. It came pre-assembled. We've got this power supply, 15 volts, 4 amps, so that's a 60 watt power supply. We've got the lathe itself. As soon as I put my hands on it, I was concerned, but we can go through some of the things of why I would suggest buying a more expensive unit, and definitely avoiding this unit. Spoilers, avoid it. But yeah, let's go through and have a look at it. So from this end, we've got our drive unit. We have a motor inside here. This was meant to be a 12 volt, 2 amp, 24 watt motor. There is a belt drive underneath this casing. Let me remove that actually. There is a belt drive underneath this casing. We got the motor here with a little fan attached to it. Very cheap and simple, just so you know. This screw here adjusts the belt tension. We have bearings inside each end of this aluminium block, which comes out to our I wonder what this is called. Let me do a quick Google search. Seems like this is called a headstock, but pretty much it's a chuck which you turn. This back ribbed part turns independently of the main part of the chuck, and that just allows you to tighten it or loosen it. So rotating this to the left loosens the chuck, rotating it to the right, let me get a better angle. Yeah, rotating it to the right tightens the chuck. There you go. Now, in terms of construction, aluminium extrusion for the length of the device. So the most that you'll be able to cut on this is possibly aluminium. Any more and this will start to warp because the metal you're cutting is harder than the casing. We've got, this looks like aluminium, or maybe, yeah, no, it's aluminium. Here, these little plates which allow you to attach the tailstock and the headstock. And by loosening these screws, you can actually move the tail and headstock around. But actually these screws are pretty tight, so this screwdriver won't work. Either way, there you go. I should note that if you loosen this too much, these parts, the chuck grips, they actually touch the body of the lathe. So it's just a dodgy construction, guys. It's, yeah, dodgy. But you know, it was a poorly spent $90, I'll be honest. But you know what? We're here and I might as well do it so that you guys don't have to. Tailstock, it's just adjustable, so it moves back and forward, and then for more coarse adjustments you loosen these screws and move this whole piece back and forth. This little sharp point at the end is on a bearing, so you can put something into the chuck and then tighten this onto the piece, and this will just dig in a little bit and provide a center so that it doesn't rotate around randomly. We've got our main cutting piece here. This is just a little piece of steel, I imagine. Let me bring that up to the camera. Yeah, tiny little thing. And it's mounted onto an ABS cutting, like the ABS moving thing. Guys, I'm not well versed in lathes, so forgive me for my lack of lathe language, but pretty much this is plastic, so anything that has any sort of hardness whatsoever will damage this plastic or distort it, so you won't get a good cut from that. We've got adjustment for back and forth, like so. Very slow and very tight, so you can't use these little handles, really, you have to do this. We've got our forwards and backwards adjustment, but you'll have noticed already how wobbly this is. If I lock the lathe in place, this piece wobbles like crazy, and it's because the tolerances on the plastic are very poor. So there's all sorts of wobble going on in there, and it just, it messes with it. So you're not going to have any sort of accuracy with this lathe. which is why I suggest not getting it. Go for one that's purely metal, because it's just, they went cheap on this one part and pretty much ruined the whole lathe experience for this device. Okay, now that I've gotten my salt out of the way, let's try cutting something. Ooh, what can we use? I'll find a stick. Before I go, I should mention that the maximum diameter that you're actually going to get out of this device before it starts hitting things is there, and you're looking at approximately a centimeter, 12 mils. And the maximum workpiece length is approximately 13 or 14 centimeters. Far out. Okay, I swear we will get to try something out, but I've just figured out if you open this all the way up, you can actually flip these pieces over and you increase the maximum area that you can use in the lathe. So here you go. Well, I'm somewhat pleased with that. By flipping these over, we have a much larger useful area now. So I reckon we could probably get something in that has a diameter of maybe 30 mils. So it's quite a bit bigger workspace now that you open that up. So that's really good. But again, this floppy piece here does in the end ruin this device. I'm gonna look and see if we can make this any tighter whatsoever, but I doubt it. Okay guys, this is gonna be kind of dodgy because I couldn't get the piece of wood to sit there, right? And so people who are more well versed in lathes will probably be saying, oh, there's something you could do, but you know, take this for what it is, which is an unexperienced user. Oh goodness. And by the way, there is no soft start. This thing is just on and off via the little switch. And so it spins the belt sometimes. I don't know if you heard that. Anyway, yeah, I'd install a speed controller or something on the motor, because right now I think it's going to damage the belt. And speaking of that, I'm just going to tighten the belt slightly before we get into it. Let's give this a go. I just want to cut some stuff up. Let's see if it destroys things. Whoops. Okay. So, fun times. It totally jumped out of the little thing that I was holding it with. So, let's put that back. Note to self. Oh, that's why I didn't tighten all of this stuff. Okay. Yeah, that one was my fault, guys. I didn't tighten these screws. Bit of a whoopsie. Nothing we can't come back from there. But you see what I mean? Did you hear the belt? Like, it was not happy, and so if it does that for any length of time, you will destroy the belt. Let's see if we can center this a bit better. How'd that go? That's not too bad. Okay guys, so you can see it's starting to take chunks now. Obviously not well centered in the chuck, so that's my fault. That's not the fault of the lathe, but we're just going to see how it goes. Either way, also good to put the vacuum on because there's a lot of wood dust and it can get into your lungs, so we'll just do that. Oh, freak. So admittedly, in that one moment, I'm pretty sure I just destroyed this whole timing gear. It's completely flattened over. So I think that enough should be just like, don't buy this lathe, obviously. But I want to have a go because I reckon I can get a cordless drill onto this chuck. And then we can actually try going at it again. Guys, I'm not gonna try and do any more lathing with this lathe because that was painful. Partly my fault because the wood just isn't in the chuck correctly. But the problem is that the tool holder bends in when there's any load on it, so it goes from very little contact with the wood and then digs straight in, and that's what happened to the belt drive. It just dug in and then there was too much force, so the belt couldn't transmit it, and then because the motor was still spinning, it just wasted all that power as heat in this gear right here, which is now completely destroyed, which is lovely. Yeah, that's great. So there you go. I guess there's not much more to say. Don't get this thing. I regret it. Yeah. Take it easy, guys. I'm gonna try and cut up some more stuff if I feel like it, but yeah, bless you.